BioShock released August 21st, 2007. By 2K, what would later be known as Irrational Games, I don't think anyone knew that what they had made was a masterpiece in world building and set design, with a powerful message packed behind it that would go on to inspire generations of games to come, leave a mark in history for what a game can be. Let me set the stage for you. The year is 1960, and you're flying over the Atlantic Ocean between Greenland and Iceland. You just lit a wonderful cigarette. They're good for your health, according to your doctor.
Son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
But to your horror, tragedy strikes, and the plane you are in plummets to the ocean. Opening your eyes, you gasp for air, fighting to reach the surface of this frigid water. What would you expect to see? Nothing? Pitch black darkness? The never-ending depths beneath you? I wouldn't fault you for choosing any of these, but what lies ahead, lit by the wreckage of the smoldering plane, is a lighthouse. Except the beacon isn't lit, and the door leading in lies open, almost beckoning you to enter. Oh man, I remember nothing from this game when I was a kid. What country is there a place for people like me? Now, the first time I played this game, I was 10 years old, having all the foundational concepts of Rapture fly in one ear and out the other. Playing through it now, I was able to appreciate and recognize what created Andrew Ryan, why he hated the way the world worked, and why he decided to live his life by his ideals. We are given a quick introduction to who he is and what he stands for right before we see it for the first time.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose Rapture. The artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, Rapture can become your city as well.
Rapture. The beauty of its neon lights, intertwining with the teeming vegetation and wildlife, entices you to know more. This intro sequence was just as magical, if not more so, than the first time I saw it as a child. But what looks mystical on the outside can just as easily be monstrous on the inside.
You best get over there and be quick about it. The splicers are coming. Are you kidding? How do you know what was coming? Because we all want to hear our way out. That means we've got company.
No time is wasted showing us the state of Ryan's utopia. As a disfigured woman gone mad and mutated by the lifeblood of this city disembowels a man in front of our very eyes and attempts to do the same to us before running away. Lying just past that scene, outside of the bathysphere we traveled in, are signs scattering the area, showing us that travel's been blocked to the surface, and protesting has occurred against Ryan's tyranny. Luckily for us, though, Rapture's #1 freedom fighter, Atlas, says he can help us escape if we help his wife and kids get to safety. We agree and head into the city.
Now, would you kindly find a crowbar or something?
Not too long after entering, our introduction to the aforementioned lifeblood stands in front of us, a gatherer's garden, or more so what's in it. These are vending machines for plasmids, and if you don't know what plasmids are and what makes them, it's a thing called Atom. Originally found in a sea slug during the construction of Rapture, this substance with refinement can rewrite the human genome.
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
First of which being Electrobolt. I'm gonna be honest with you here. For me, this was the best one. I almost never swapped off of it through my entire playthrough, and with its capability to stop turrets and cameras on top of stunning enemies, making them take more damage, it's the best all-rounder, in my opinion. Back to topic though. For Atom, there needed to be a better production and harvesting method than just searching for sea slugs. This is where the little sisters and big daddies come in. They are the perfect example of the moral foundations of this city. You see, Rapture is a representation of objectivism, a philosophy where one's personal interests and goals are placed above all other values. Morals and government oversight are not standard practices within this belief, and it upholds laissez-faire capitalism at its core. These tenets are supposed to be what Rapture stood for and why it was created. So following these beliefs, it was just okay to take young girls from families, or purchase them through trafficking, mentally condition these girls while having those nasty slugs put into their stomach, turning them into little mobile atom factories. To protect these factories, the competitor to Ryan Industries, Fontaine Futuristics, with the help of Bridget Tenenbaum and Yi Su Chang, created not only the little sisters, but their protectors, the big daddies. Now, there's plenty of videos made about these two because the lore goes deep, and that's not what this video is about. So I'm gonna move on. In summary, Atom makes plasmids. Plasmids make people superhumans. Atom is addictive, and you need to continually get it, constantly splicing your body, creating these monsters known as splicers that litter the streets of Rapture. So, taking these factors, you can put together and see how this spiral has brought Rapture to the precipice of ruin. Moving forward though, Brian traps us, asking who we are and why we are here, sicking his splicers on us.
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent to you? The KGB wolf or the CIA jackal? Here's the news. Rapture isn't some sunken ship for you to plunder. And Andrew Ryan isn't a giddy socialite who can be slapped around by government muscle. And with that, farewell, or до свидания, Jerry.
Escaping with the help of Atlas, it's time to cover some ground and make our way towards his family. To do this though, we need to cross through an area that is controlled by Dr. Steinman, a man who was once a medical practitioner and plastic surgeon, but over time lost himself to atom abuse, eventually getting to the point of mutilating his patients in search of beauty. After tracking down the telekinesis plasmid and doing as the Romans do, that doesn't hit him? Come on. That is it. Old games are funny. We clear the path to Steinman.
I want to make them beautiful, but they always turn out wrong. That was too fast. This one, too tall. This one, too symmetrical. And now, what's this, guys? An intruder. He's ugly. 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 Ugly.
That's just rude. Okay, my robot's taking all of his attention. Robot OP. Taking him out promptly and subsequently running into Tenenbaum, the brain behind the Little Sisters. Big Daddy, I don't want to fight them.
Stay away from her, or it is you who will be shot next.
Easy now, Doctor. He's just looking for a wee bit of Adam. Just enough to get by.
I'll not have him hurt my little ones.
It's okay, lad. That's not a child. Not anymore, it ain't. Dr. Tenenbaum saw to that.
Bitte do not hurt her. Have you no heart?
Aye, that's a pretty sermon coming from the ghoul who cooked up them creatures in the first place. Took fine little girls and turned them into that, didn't you? Listen to me, boyo. You won't survive without the aid of those things they're carrying. Are you prepared to trade your life, the lives of my wife and child, for Tenenbaum's Frankensteins?
Here, there is another one.
Did you see it? On the left side of the screen, a full-bodied apparition appears, only moments before vanishing into thin air. Is this proof that Rapture is haunted? What? Did you see?
This.
In the bottom left.
Free them from their torment. I will make it to be worth your while. Somehow.
Now remorseful for her actions, she asks us to spare the sisters instead of harvesting them. Realistically, you get so much Adam throughout the game, you never need to harvest any of them. The choice is almost pointless outside of changing the ending you receive. Listening to her plea though, I released the little sister and continued to Neptune's bounty. This area was kind of a blur for me, and I went through it pretty quick, but I'd like to take a moment to speak about the difficulty of this game. It's practically non-existent. You die and can just immediately come back to the enemy, which has the same amount of health it did prior to your death, and finish killing it. I played on the hardest difficulty, and most scenarios where something was difficult, it was a bit lackluster. I didn't have to think outside the box, I just kept coming back and shooting at the same chump until they died. Outside of that though, I really only had one other gripe with this game, but we can get to that later. In Neptune's Bounty, there was a recording that I found very interesting.
Putting all the Baptist schools in lockdown until further notice. Ryan had us install some kind of genetic device into the thing, so only Ryan and his inner circle will be able to use them without dispensation. But the boys tell me the keys are pretty unreliable. Sisters, cousins, anybody in the ballpark genetically will be able to come and go as they see fit.
This recording threw a red flag to me, and I was like, wait, I wrote a bathysphere in here. How was I able to do that? There's a little piece to this puzzle we keep unraveling as we go through. To get to the other side of Neptune's Bounty, we have to pass through Fontaine Fisheries, which was locked up by a guy named Peach Wilkins. And what do we need to do for him to let us in, you ask? Go and take some pictures of the splicers. Yeah, I'm not even joking. Bro's a freak.
Relax. I just want to take some pictures.
After snapping his pics, he let me in, but only without my guns. So armed with my trusty wrench and plasmids, I enter. To most likely no one's surprise, he tries to jump me with a group of splicers, but after a couple of deaths and the help of the hacked alarm system, I make him taste his own medicine. Oh, another thing. And find my way into the smuggler's hideout. Cody of Cart Steinman. Through our time there, we found that Fontaine Fisheries was a front for a surface smuggling business, which is what Frank Fontaine used to kickstart his funding for atom production and plasmid development at what eventually would be Fontaine Futuristics. In the smuggler's hideout, Ryan attempts to teach Atlas a lesson by sinking the bathysphere Atlas's family is in and making us watch.
If only your friend could look up and see. Maybe. If only you could do something, anything. Except just stand here and watch him die.
This is the perfect example of how he has become a tyrant, pushing his belief and vision to the forefront at any cost. And after having our front row seat blocked, we battled through Ryan's Splicer army and moved to Arcadia. The veritable Garden of Eden at the bottom of the ocean. Arcadia supplies the oxygen to all of Rapture. But we're not here for a leisure stroll. We gotta find the metro and get to Ryan. Atlas kindly asked us to track him down and help exact his revenge, and, well, I'm a sucker for a polite request. Throughout Arcadia, we find the recordings of Julie Langford, a botanist and the mind behind this forest.
Today, Arcadia was closed off to all but paying customers. The man hires me to build a forest at the bottom of the ocean and then turns a walk in the woods into a luxury. Ryan asked, should a farmer not be able to sell his food? Is a potter not entitled to a profit from his pots? I started to argue with the man, and then I remembered who signed my checks. The only thing worse than a hypocrite is an unemployed one.
Get out of my territory!
Eventually, we have to seek her out, as Ryan shows that he hasn't changed compared to when he was on the surface. And if anything, he's only become worse. You see, Ryan owned a large forest prior to founding Rapture, and was asked many times by a religious organization to turn it into a public park, as according to them, it was owned by God. Additionally, the government tried to nationalize it, and turn it into a park as well. Now, he decided the best course of action was to burn it to the ground, as it would be better that no one had it, rather than the parasites. Doing the exact same thing, if not worse, in Arcadia, by releasing a toxin that begins to kill all the plants, effectively dooming all of Rapture. Atlas tells us that we need to track down Julie Langford, as she is inclined to fix this issue because she's no stranger to working for a dirty dollar. A bit of carnage later, and a lot of pictures, I step up to her office, and we see that Ryan had made a deal with Langford where he pretty much owns her. And once hearing that she would go against him, he kills her with the same agent released earlier.
Section 3, subsection 4.
Mr. Ryan.
Ryan Industries maintains exclusive rights to the creation, use, and exploitation of the Lazarus Vector. Ownership is civilization.
Wait! No! Please!
Without it, we're back in the swamp.
Mr. Ryan!
Luckily though, she left us the code to her safe, and some recordings to make the Lazarus vector, which is like a miracle growth substance that can revive all the plants. With the help of her recording, we tracked down the remaining ingredients needed. Distilled water, enzyme samples, and chlorophyll solution. With these in hand, I mix up the vector and restore life to Arcadia. Allowing us to access the metro and subsequently board Frolic.
Why are you so resistant to the traditional methods of separating a man from his soul? You're not CIA, are you? You belong to Atlas, the one roach I can't seem to exterminate. Don't worry. I just need time to find the proper poison.
Okay, I admit this one is my fault, but my other gripe with this game is the hacking and the alarms. Don't get me wrong, the hacking is fun the first 30 times, but it's so pivotal to your interactions throughout all of BioShock that it became more of a chore than a fun minigame. It takes a decent amount of time, each hack, which detracts from the current subject, and especially when purchasing from shops, you're shooting yourself in the foot to not hack the machine first. The other thing I hated was the alarms. I got so sick of hearing them and having to track down a shutdown panel so I could stop them. I would get to a point in the story where I was immersed and desired to move forward, but missed an electroshock or got a bad RNG on a hack and had to run backwards while being shot at just so I could spend $20 to keep moving forward. After that rant out, we can, go back to the scheduled programming. Sorry about that.
That's better. Atlas Ryan. Atlas Ryan. Da 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 da. Time-wise, you could get something decent on the radio. The artist has a duty to seduce the ear and delight the spirit. So say goodbye to those two blowhards, and hello to an evening with Sander Cohen.
The current wall between us and Ryan is Sander Cohen, a man that does not side himself with Ryan or Atlas. He expresses interest in us and asks to speak, making the bathysphere to Hephaestus sink, so we have no other choice than to hear him out.
Yes, the artist knows there is richer earth to master.
Sander Cohen, to me, was the representation of a mad artist unchecked. So many stories tell of a crazed visionary, whether it be a painter or a musician, and their pursuit of perfection pushing them to the extreme. Cohen is no different to this expectation. He was a prodigal artist in many aspects before coming to Rapture, and quickly became a sensation within the confines of the city. Eventually, though, he went mad due to atom abuse, sinking deeper into depravity. The victims of this depravity are on display around Fort Frolic, frozen as statues of his grotesque actions captured in wax. He has been watching wedding, and he wants to put our skills to use, primarily the camera, that is.
No! Oh God, you sick fuck, let me out of there!
Calm down now, little moth. Life, death. The burden of the artist is to capture.
Taking a liking to these images captured, he asks that we track down his previous disciples, kill them, and take a picture. All after making us watch his most recent disciple, Fitzpatrick, blow up. Now, just like the other areas of the game, we don't really have much of a choice. And I oblige, quickly tracking these poor tortured souls and snapping a pic.
What are you gonna do?
Hey,
Told you.
Sander?
We're gonna hang out.
Epstein guy, one of your disciples up top?
Movie?
Throughout this process, we're rewarded with some gifts, but I gotta say, the greatest gift is putting this guy down and getting the hell out of here.
It's beautiful.
As the doors open to Hephaestus, we're one step closer in finding Ryan and putting an end to his tyranny.
Now would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch? It's time to finish this.
Not too much to say about this location. We had to track down a few items. And interfere with the electricity, locking Ryan's room to get in. That's where the juicy bits come in. All the secrets come to light as our motivation and the subtlety of BioShock's writing is thrown out the window. We are shown none of the actions we have taken to this point have been ours. Atlas has controlled us. Nothing more than a tool to him. Jack Ryan, a fertilized embryo and bastard child of Andrew Ryan, created for the sole purpose of furthering Frank Fontaine's desire for power, mentally conditioned to be a slave and genetically altered to age rapidly. What are we? A man or a slave?
The assassin has overcome my final defense, and now he's come to murder me. In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories. A farm, a family, an airplane, a crash, and then this place. Was there really a family? Did that airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down. Forced down by something less than a man, something bred to sleepwalk through life until they are activated by a simple phrase spoken by their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill, or a slave? A man chooses. A slave obeys. Come in. Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? Powerful phrase. Familiar phrase.
Would you kindly? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run. Stop. Turn. A man chooses. A slave obeys. Kill!
juices! Oh, slime! Oh, face! Obey!
Now, I've heard multiple reasons for why the Vita chamber in Ryan's office was off, but my interpretation is that just like with his forest, Ryan would rather see Rapture die at his own hands and lose his life by his choice than anyone else's. I bit my tongue while I was doing that. That didn't feel good. This was his final act as someone that was never able to relinquish control. Instead of coming to a resolution or using us as a pawn, knowing the trigger phrase, "Would you kindly?" he would rather take everything away, because if Rapture isn't his, it should be no one's. And he wants everyone to know that. After his death, though, the guise is lifted. Atlas never existed. It was Fontaine the entire time.
I gotta say, I had a lot of business partners in my life, but you, of course, the fact that you were genetically conditioned to bark like a cocker spaniel when I said, "Would you kindly," might have had something to do with it, but still. Now, as soon as that machine finishes processing the genetic key you just fished off Ryan, I'm gonna run Rapture tits to toes. You better, pal. But you know what they say? Never mix business with friendship. Thanks for everything, kid. Don't forget to say hi to Ryan for me.
With the help of Tenenbaum, we barely escaped the onslaught of security bots, waking up surrounded by the little sisters we have saved up until this point. She states that she has removed as much mental conditioning as possible, but to fully gain control, we need to track down Dr. Su Chong's office and eliminate what remains. I had forgotten the big twist from when I was playing this game as a child, and at this point my mind was blown. I had suspicions that something was up leading here, but never picked up on all the "would you kindly" statements. Looking back on it though, it makes perfect sense once the cards are on the field. Hats off to Ken Levine and everyone over at 2K. You guys did a wonderful job. Progressing forward in Prometheus Park and Apollo Square, we tracked down all the doses of Lot 192 needed to unshackle ourselves from the control of Fontaine.
Yes, the compound is taking hold. The effects of the mental suggestion are now gone, but there will certainly be side effects.
The last story beat prior to meeting Fontaine is to disguise ourselves as a big daddy so we can draw out the little sisters, since they can cross through spaces and open doors for us, I guess. It didn't really make much sense to me. We already had a couple of little sisters open doors for us previously and help us, so I was like, why is this necessary? And even after completing this step, the helmet comes off and it's insinuated that we aren't stuck in this state forever, especially since we just put the suit on and changed our voice box. To me, this seemed like the weakest portion of the story and was unnecessary, just thrown in as a way to introduce the lore of how Big Daddies were made in a more natural way. Either way though, with the suit collected, voice box swapped, and doused in pheromones, we slugged through an escort quest to get to Fontaine. The entire time, I was sitting there like, dang, this whole section could have been gone from the game, and I don't feel like I would have missed much at all. It was a bit of a shame. Finally though, after every step, after every wall in our way, every broken pane of glass, we lay our eyes on the man who created us. Not only does he have the mind of a monster, but in his endless pursuit for power, he has adopted the visage of one as well. I don't think he would have lasted long, even if we failed to defeat him, much less Adam has ruined men just like him countless times before. Kind of shown that with every enemy in the game. Enemy Frank Fontaine is just the last head of the Hydra that destroyed Rapture.
I had you built. I sent you topside. I called you back, showed you what you was capable of. Even that life you thought you had, that was something I dreamed up and had tattooed inside your head. Now, if you don't call that family, I don't know what is. And now,
After all is said and done, Jack didn't want to take over Rapture, showing that he wasn't a slave anymore. He chose to give the little sisters a life and return to the surface, the opposite of what Ryan and Fontaine would have done, putting the interests and happiness of others over his own. BioShock was a wonderful game that had its flaws here and there, but its world building, storytelling, set design, and twists outweigh the few cons greatly. I enjoyed this game so much more than I thought I would, which made me go play BioShock 2 and Infinite. You can expect videos on them in the future. Thank you for sharing this experience with me. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, as there's much more to come after this. For now though, have a good one. Goodbye.
You never said, but I think I know. A family.